Good day and welcome to this live broadcast with Diamyd Medical, where anyone can ask their questions to CEO Ulf Hannelius during the broadcast. Diamyd have reported their for the second quarter and that is the period from 1st of December through 28th of February for the fiscal year 2022-2023. And to discuss the results and events during the quarter, I welcome Ulf Hannelius, CEO of Diamyd Medical. Welcome, Ulf.
Thank you so much.
How do you do? Have it been a hectical day?
Yeah, it's been well. I'm calling live from my kitchen at home with a man flu, so that's unfortunately I couldn't be in the studio, but if you don't want to have a man flu as well, but this seems to be working very well. Otherwise, it's been a hectical day, hectical week, hectical year, everything. It's very hectical, but it's moving forward, so that's the most important thing. And there are some very good news, which we will talk about. So,
if I start with the numbers, your net result was minus 25 million Swedish kronas compared to minus 9 million in the same period last year. And your cash and short-term investment, meaning your available cash, is 101.6 million Swedish kronas at the end of the period. Do you have any comments for these numbers, Ulf?
Well, it's in line with what is expected, and the slightly increasing negative results is just a reflection of that we are moving ahead and accelerating, and we are in phase 3 and going to start up the US part of the trial in the summer as well. So nothing strange there. I would say it's just a reflection of that we are moving forward.
What can you tell us on the recruitment of patients to your studies?
Yeah, like it says in the report, it's going according to plan. So we have certain now, since we've screened a large number of patients and included patients, we can sort of test our, let's say, assumptions, since you always start with an assumption when you start the trial with how many clinics do we need and what do we expect the recruitment to go. And now we actually done a large part of the operational work, we can test those assumptions. And we are like following our plans, but it's definitely we can't just get comfortable. And that's why this news that we will talk about also soon with our partnership with JDRF is a really big thing for us. Also, when it comes to patient recruitment, that will boost it.
Okay, and you have received patent protection in the USA and Japan for the GABA formulation, Remygen. Is this all according to plan?
Yes, of course, it's very positive. I mean, we have our own formulation of GABA. So GABA is a known molecule, and then we created our own formulation, which is in the Regenerate 1 trial, which we'll expect to get the results now in April and announce them. And now we have in the US and Japan, which are two very important markets. The US obviously is the biggest market in the world when it comes to pharmaceuticals. We have the patent protection there for the formulation, which is almost like, I would say, a necessity if you are developing a pharmaceutical, or even if you want to have a branded food supplement, which could be another way with GABA as well, but we are focusing on the pharmaceutical path. So it's very important for us, but that's all. Obviously, the biggest value is given clinical results, where we have the phase 1 results looked very positive. Now we expect to get the phase 2 results now in April, and obviously depending on those results, we know how to then maneuver ahead with Remygen, the GABA drug candidate.
And DiaPrecise, a Diamyd type 1 diabetes precision medicine prevention trial, was approved by the Swedish medical agency. What is the next step here?
Next step there is to, it's now approved to start, and the next step is just start the trial. I mean, taking in the individuals, dose them, and then follow them up. So it's a small trial, but we go into this what's called stage 1, stage 2 individuals. So it's before you have clinically diagnosed type 1 diabetes. So it's more like a prevention, a delay, or in the best case, prevent someone from getting diagnosed with type 1, and then you go into these high-risk individuals. So we will go down in age compared to the phase 3, which is ongoing in the diagnosed type 1 diabetics. And it's again with intralymphatic injections, and it's in the individuals with the right genotype as well, which then associates with response to our So it's a small but very important trial, and the next step is really to then start including the patients and dosing them.
All right, and then if we fast forward to yesterday, you released the news of a partnership with JDRF. What can you tell us about JDRF and what this means to you as a company and the Diamyd 3 study?
Yeah, so that's really big news for us. JDRF, it's the biggest patient advocacy group in the US and the largest financer of type 1 diabetes research globally. So it's a very important organization when it comes from a type 1 diabetes perspective. And the partnership for the phase 3 for us means a lot, both when it comes to patient recruitment, US, but also Europe. And then obviously when you start preparing for potential commercialization, to have like that kind of an patient advocacy group on your side who can really like also sort of lobby for the field and the importance of these kinds of therapies that we are developing. So that's very important and it's big news. And we are receiving a lot of very happy emails from all around the world regarding this news. So it's big.
Sounds great. So they can contribute not only with money and knowledge, but also all the important connections and influence that they have to
Yes,
authorities.
exactly. I would say that's, I mean, the money is very important, obviously, but obviously we need more to go all the way to market and beyond. That's nothing strange, but it's really the brand of JDRF and their competence. And I must say, if they are listening, they are fantastic people as well, the people we are talking on a personal level. So it means a lot for us. And we are very honored and humbled to have them partner with us.
I guess we'll be hearing a lot more about this going forward. To move on, you have a new member to the board, Mrs. Karin Rosén. What will she bring to you?
So Dr. Rosén, she's based outside of San Francisco in the US, and she has a very, I would say, I'm almost envious of her background and her experience. So she's been working many big pharma companies and biotech companies that have been acquired by big pharma companies, and especially in the US, commercialized products. So she knows what it's to develop and commercialize products in the US when it comes to the payer environment and how to navigate strategically. So it's a very, I mean, that's a fantastic addition to our board to have that kind of competence now when we are starting up in the US and also starting to gradually prepare for commercialization. So it's a really good addition. And she's now adjunct member, and then she will be voted in as a full member at the next annual general meeting.
Okay. You will present in April the result from the Remygen study. What are the next possible steps for you going forward after that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a study that has been ongoing for a few years, and the phase 1 part of that study, so the dose escalation, that's already published like in a scientific article, and those results in the phase 1 were, I would say, surprisingly positive, because they really showed that it seems to be able to protect against hypoglycemia, which is when the patient ends up in dangerously low blood sugar levels, because type 1 diabetics and also type 2 diabetics who are on insulin therapy, their bodies don't react when the blood sugar starts going down. A healthy individual has this hormonal response that sort of corrects the blood sugar levels. But in many type 1s and type 2 diabetics, that doesn't work properly. So the body reacts too late. But in this dose escalation part, it looked like when they took our then study drug, that they started behaving more like healthy individuals, which was a very surprising but very positive result. So now we will get the phase 2 results in April. And obviously, depending on those results, if you can confirm the phase 1, that's fantastic. Then we have a potential completely new kind of therapeutic to advance to market. And then the next step there is to decide what is that pivotal trial, what will it look like, and these things, and have the right discussions with the EMA, FDA. Obviously, if there are more like unclear results that are not that, then we will have the option to sort of see if we can do another smaller study to get a bit more confirmation on those Like I mentioned earlier in this interview, there have been, even if we are not focusing on it, there can even be potential for food supplements, branded ones. This GABA is sold, and now we have as a food supplement, and we have a patent protected formulation. So that's a huge industry as well. So it depends on the results, how much we will focus on it, since 95% of our resources today are prioritized for the GAD, like the phase 3 asset. And yes, we see this mostly as a very interesting bonus, potential bonus in the company, if we can also have a second potentially drug that can be advanced to market.
Thank you, Ulf. And then I have a few questions from our viewers. One is your production facility in Umeå. How is the work progressing there?
Well, it's progressing. I mean, it's full operations ongoing, so it's a lot of work there, which is understandable. When you start build a GMP facility, it requires it's a big investment, both time and money, and a lot of work is ongoing there. We have a fantastic team, and we are hiring more people. The aim is to have it production ready this year, and obviously there are many different kind of milestones when you do this. But most important thing is that it gets up and running, getting the large scale process that we can validate that, get it material for upcoming clinical trials, and then the biggest thing is for commercialization. So there's a lot ongoing, and we obviously look forward to also reporting more from Umeå.
Another question here is that when it comes to the Asian market, where the demands are studies being made locally, what are the status on that?
Asian markets, right?
Asian markets, yeah.
Yeah. So we have nothing ongoing in Asia, like Japan, China. They are the biggest. China, let's say, is from how big the country is, and obviously the medical need. It's a very big market. And then Japan is a very well-functioning pharmaceutical market, also with usually quite high prices. So traditionally it has been US first, then Europe, Japan, and China. China is now maybe growing, taking over as maybe the second largest market. So we have nothing ongoing there, and the plan is we will not do something on our own in those markets, because we don't have the experience when it comes to for example, EMA and FDA. We know very well Europe and US, but we don't know the local authorities in the Asian countries. So that would be with a partner to do this. But now the most focus is on Europe and US, and US is like the biggest market of them all. Up to 80% of everything you earn can be in the US alone. So that's the focus.
Thank you. And I think this points to the US market. When will you be able to take a decision regarding to file an application for approval going to market? And is JDRF an asset in this work?
I would say JDRF is an asset in everything when it comes to type 1 diabetes. Obviously, it's an independent organization, and it's not like they have licensed our technology, but they are very important when it comes to this advocacy work and like promoting these kinds of therapies that we are developing to make sure that the regulators and the payers understand the value. So there it will be very important for us. And then when it comes to filing, obviously it's when you have the top line results, even positive ones, that's when you can file. And before that, you need to do what's called pre-launch activities before you have that opportunity. We do have an interim analysis that we will do in a study. Currently, it's like a blinded interim analysis. We are looking into potential other kinds of interim analysis that could be a bit more unblinded, that could potentially lead to accelerated approvals or similar pathways, which would mean that a potential BLA would come earlier. But that's nothing we can promise, but we are evaluating different avenues. Well, it's in our interest and in everyone's interest that we go as fast as possible, but you can't cut too many corners in this industry. You need to make sure that your trial is according to all the rules and regulations. Otherwise, you won't be able to file.
Thank you, Ulf. That was all the questions from me and the viewers today. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you so much.